Welcome back guys again for another video. Today we are going to be making the top 5 must-have units in Update 1 of All-Star Tower Defense X, and the way that I'm going to make these top 5 units is going to be based on the hardest game modes available in Update 1 and also the game modes currently available. So that's challenges, story mode, infinite, trials, and everything else in between. So as I promised, I said that we were going to be doing a 57,000 subscriber giveaway. If you join our Discord right now, it should already be starting. So all you need to be doing in order to be part of it is subscribe and join our Discord in the pinned comment down below. Not only do you get to be part of this giveaway, but you also get to be part of the OG community of AB Plays. So yeah. Alright, again, so as I mentioned, this theme or this 5 best units that you must have in All-Star Tower Defense X is mainly going to be based on 5 units that, in my opinion, are really useful right now based on the current game modes that are available. Okay, so there is 6 units you can fit in a single team, and obviously I'm not going to be including Ramen Guy in this one anymore because in my previous lists I included Ramen Guy. Now I will not be including Ramen Guy anymore. But at number 5 we are going to have Irwin, and I'll be explaining to you guys why Irwin is super important. And basically the long and short of this is because Irwin is incredibly useful as a shield breaker, right? He costs 1,650 to place. On placement, he is a full AoE unit, but not only this, he is also versatile, and he summons, and his summons are actually OP for missions, which is the most important or one of the most important game mode currently available in the game. What missions are is it's what you need in order to evolve your unit. So let's say I want to ascend my Ichigo, I need to beat the Darkwing NPC mission 3 times in order to do that. But not only is he useful there, he's also useful in trials because there's a lot of NPCs in trials that have insane shields, right? His Titan form is useful as a shield breaker. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a must-have. A lot of people are saying Whitebeard is good and probably should be here. No, Aaron is here simply because not only does he have shield break, but he's also useful for missions. That alone, those 2 reasons alone, makes him the number 5 unit in this list. Alright, so the next one we're going to be testing here in infinite mode, and it's going to be Onwin or Irwin, and I'm going to be showing exactly why this is insanely good. So much like how it was in Anime Adventures, Onwin or Irwin is a buffer here in All-Star Tower Defense X. Now, the reason why he's in here instead of all the other buffing units that we have like King Kai is because he can also summon, so it kind of makes him a more versatile option compared to the other summoners like King Kai and the other options. And yeah, also just like Irwin better. Okay, alright, so in order to link it properly, and this is like my 3rd time trying it, you are going to have to look at the timers right here. Okay, so you pop the first one like this. Okay, I'm just gonna sell this right here and just replace it again. You're gonna have to pop the first one, then wait until it's about 25 seconds before you pop this other one right here. Now, this will probably be much easier if you're at 1 time speed, but I'm at 3 times speed right now. So if you want to like make it a lot easier on yourself, you could do it at 1 speed. So 3, 2, pop that one right there. So yeah, you could do it at 1 time speed because if you're doing it at 3 times speed, your timing is going to be very off. So what I recommend you doing is actually do the timing at 3 times speed, at 1 time speed to ensure that the timing is going to properly like click. Otherwise, it's going to not be proper. So what we need to happen is this has to fire immediately after this one right here is done with its buff. So every single buff lasts for 30 seconds. This one right here will have to fire after 30 seconds, which is when that one right there is done. So that's a simple Irwin buff, Irwin chain buff guide right there. And you can see that the DPS is actually very high. I'm gonna sell one and put it right here. The DPS of one Goku without the buff is only going to be 3,260 compared to 4,095. So that's actually a heck of a lot. And you can actually even stack him up like this to where they're doing 40% more damage. So from 3,200 only, they're now doing 4,565. And the way I did it is I just stacked using the same method I taught you earlier, 4 Irwins. So I might make a separate video on this if you guys want me to, but this buff is diabolically good and is literally just one of the best ways to buff your units, because again, it also does summon. The number 3 unit is now going to be S-Death. So while the other 2 units is a support unit, so you might be noticing something here already. The other 2 units that were in this list before S-Death was support units, and S-Death is actually another support unit. Well, Aaron is not really a support unit, but he kind of can function as a support unit if you want him to. But Zeke, Irwin is definitely a support unit, right? ASTD is also a support unit. So the reason why ASTD is in here is because ASTD is a unit that has great DPS and great support capabilities. And recently, ASTD got buffed as well. She now only costs 1,500 to place from 2,500. She now also has freeze on placement compared to before, where she didn't have freeze on placement. She just now is a much better support while still keeping the DPS that she used to do. Now, what the time stop does is obviously time stop, and it lasts for about 4 seconds, and enemies are immune to stun for the next 6 seconds afterwards. But the cooldown is pretty short, and you can have it on multiple SDATs. If I say want to have another one, I could just have this SDAT right here, launch it again as well. So take a look at this. Auto, that will stun them. And then this will stun as well. So it's just a very great support. Even though she does lose her freeze capabilities when you get her time stop, you can just place a bunch of SDATs to maybe combine the freeze. So while she's not time stopping, you can use the other SDATs to freeze. So yeah. The next unit is going to be Zeke, and the reason why Zeke is going to be in here, if you haven't noticed yet, is in my previous videos, I think about 2 videos ago, the one video I made before the tier list where I soloed Trial, I used Zeke in order to solo that Trial. And one of the reasons why I used him is because he is the first hybrid unit in the entire game, which means he is instantly a must-have unit because he's the first hybrid. But not only that, if you guys haven't noticed yet, he actually has a pretty cheap placement of only 900 yen, or whatever they call this, cash, I think. So that cheap placement of 900 yen is actually very useful, because you, with just 900 yen or cash, now have a unit that can defend against both flying units and ground units. But also, not to mention, he does have pretty great DPS as well. Now, he does have this one weakness of not being able to attack within his circle right here. But obviously, you can just place him to where that white circle will not be doing that much. And when you get to this cone attack ability, it actually does kind of become better, in my opinion, because that cone AoE ability is just really useful. And also the insane damage bump is crazy, from 8,800 damage to 22,000. His SPA now becomes 9.78, and this is why SPA skill 3 is better on him to lower that SPA. But his DPS increased by quite a bit, and also that cone is actually really wide. It genuinely is really big, and again, it's pretty cheap to upgrade him. And yeah, that's pretty much why he is top 2, because again, hybrid capabilities, great range, great cone. Those are things that you just can't ignore. You can use him, I think, as an early defense unit pretty easily. Now, we are going to have the number 1 must-have unit in the game, which is going to be Black Stash. Now, the reason why Black Stash is incredibly powerful and incredibly useful is gonna boil down to his overpowered slow ability, and the fact that he also does have pretty decent damage. Now, his damage or DPS is not as high as the SDATs. Blackbeard is cheaper though, and his support is infinitely better than SDATs, because his support capability is the ability to slow, and you unlock it at like upgrade 2, I believe. So that is kind of like a weakness, because you can only use it at upgrade 2 after upgrading him for quite a bit. And he will now be able to slow down the enemy unit. So take a look at this right here. Boom. It's more noticeable against bosses, and that's the reason why he's also at number 1, because the hardest game modes in the game, like Trials, is incredibly hard, or probably impossible without Blackbeard, because he is the best slow unit in the game. Right now, there's not many units that can kind of endure his damage in the infinite that I am in. But in the harder game modes like challenges or maybe the newer story modes, he is very useful because his slow is very noticeable. His slow is genuinely noticeable against the enemies that can actually tank a hit from him. It becomes really noticeable. So yeah, that's pretty much the list. At number 5, we have Aaron. Number 4, Irwin. 3, ASTD. 2, Zeke. And at number 1, we have Blackbeard. All of these units are good in game modes that are currently available in the game. So Aaron's good for trials and mission. Irwin's good for trial 1 and for some other harder game modes. ASTD's good anywhere. Zeke is good anywhere. Blackbeard is good anywhere. And that is why these units are a must-have in the game. That's why I think this is a pretty awesome video. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.